But first for now, let me ask you a question. How would you like to generate passive income online?
Well, I think everyone would. And the sad truth is that we trade time for money every day. Now, wouldn't it be good to let your online business rake in the cash while you do other things?
That would certainly be a dream. Well, our guest today is an internet marketing guru who has run many successful businesses online, and that includes one which he sold just about 4 years ago when it hit an annual turnover of $30 million.
Join us as we pick the brains of Derek Gale, CEO of Entrepreneur Lab. Morning, good to have you on the show.
Morning, thanks for having me.
So give us your take first. I mean, you've been on doing this online business for quite some time now, more than a decade, in fact. How has this online business trend taken off, and how has it evolved in the past decade?
Well, you know, how it's evolved is it used to be really hard from a technology standpoint. So that was always the barrier to entry for the average person at home. You know, you didn't have the technical skills. But from a technology standpoint, it's gotten a lot easier for the average person to set up a website. You know, what used to take a lot of time, you can do it fast. But that said, there's more competition on the internet now, obviously. So, you know, although it's gotten easier, there is more competition, but there's a lot of room out there for businesses. You know, you're reaching, there's 2 billion internet users now.
It's really encouraged a boom of business mind thinkers now, isn't it? Now that you can start business yourself online.
Yeah, at-home entrepreneurs, right? You know, people can work from home. You don't have to have big startup capital and inventory and offices. So it's a unique opportunity for just the average person.
So tell us about your first internet business, the Internet Marketing Center, which apparently you started with just a few $100. And before you sold it in 2009, you said you're turning an annual revenue of $30 million. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, so we started that, and really, back in the very early days, it was a result of, we were some of the first people to actually sell stuff online, right? You know, books and stuff like that. And so people started coming to us and asking us, how do we do it, right? And I've always believed that the best way to develop businesses is let the market tell you what they want, right? And so over the following decade, that company was driven by training regular people how to build businesses online, developing software, tools, seminars, coaching all over the world. And so that was just a huge, huge growth curve. And it was a lot of fun. But, you know, I had 2 offices, I had 100 employees, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And the irony of it is I love working at home in my basement, building businesses, having that freedom. All of a sudden, I had this huge corporation that was just like a giant anchor. And the irony of it is I was teaching all these people to do what I loved, right? And here I was running a big company. So that's why I went back to doing what I love after I sold it.
So teach us then, okay, if there are people out there who are listening to you right now and they do want to become passive income streamers, what's the first thing you need to do? What's the startup cost?
Well, you know, the setup cost is really low now. I mean, a website, a domain name's $10–15. Hosting, that's not a lot. You know, the real trick to getting it right is just making sure you're getting the right training. Because right now, if you go to Google and you type "make money on the internet," you are going to be overwhelmed with website after website promising you mega riches, you know, press a button and money will appear. And that's where most people stumble, because they get sucked into these scams, okay, for lack of better terms.
So when you say training, what sort of training are we talking about? Understanding the market, what products to sell?
Yeah, and that's probably what you said there was probably the most important, is having the skills to be able to identify where the opportunities are. You know, so right now, I personally probably have about 30 websites, okay, and they're in all sorts of niche markets, okay, and I find those just using software that'll go out, identify niche markets, demand, what are people looking for, and then I find products that I can bring to those markets, right? So you don't have to guess. The information's there, and if you do the research, you can figure it out without guessing, and that's the trick to
So give us examples then. On your 30 websites, what are some of the products that you're selling? It seems like, you know, at the moment it's a big thing.
Yeah, okay, so you know, a perfect example is one of my websites is we teach people how to make soap and spa stuff at home, okay? So just a little, that started with one little niche website, which was bath bombs. And I think you guys actually threw that one up as a picture there. And bath bombs, not exploding bathtubs, but little bath fizzy things. And I mean, that little ebook, 17 pages, you know, that thing's been turning $1,000 a month for years. And it just turns over and over and over. And, you know, every once in a while you might have somebody email you, but it's as close to, I think, passive income as you're going to get, right? So once you know how to set it up and you've done the work, you get it there, you get it ranked in Google and let it go. It's amazing how they'll just continue to pay you with very little input.
What's interesting, the point that you make there about how to get it ranked in Google, and you also said earlier that if you type in how to make money, that you're overloaded with information. So how do you you know, make sure that your product gets visibility?
Sure. Well, I mean, you know, here's the thing. There's lots of search engine marketing experts out there that'll charge you a lot of money to do your services for you. But the reality is getting ranked in Google is very systematic. It does take some time, but if you have patience, anybody at home can build a website up to get ranked in the top of Google. And, you know, a new website is going to take you maybe 90 days to 6 months, but you can get to that first page where you're getting lots of that free traffic, right? But then there's other sources now too. Social media, Facebook. I mean, that's taking off like a rocket now. So we have more news sources of buyers to bring to our websites.
Right.
So really we talk about a passive income, but there is quite a bit of work involved. I mean, typically how much time do you spend on one of your businesses or one of your websites?
Right. So the startup is definitely the heaviest lifting, okay? And I'm going to talk about it from a beginner perspective, not from my perspective, because I've done it so many times. Give me a week and I'll have it up, right? For a beginner, there is a good learning curve, right? So what I typically see is people, when I'm training them, it's kind of a 3-month to 6-month learning curve to get their first one up, but then the next one's faster and the next one's faster. And you know, I've got a lot of students here in Singapore and in Malaysia that they start with no skills, and we can get them there that quickly because they have the right training. But you know, the trick is keeping them from being distracted by all the get-rich-quick stuff that's actually out there.
So for a beginner, 3 to 6 months, you say, and training, well, what skills do you equip them with? What is it that you emphasize that they need to get it right before they actually embark on it?
Sure. Well, you can break that down really into 3 steps, okay? 1, being able to find products that have demand, right? Find the right products to sell. 2, building sales websites, right? So not just sort of personal sites, but sites that actually can take payment, deliver product, sell product. And then 3, getting the right visitors to that website, whether it's through search engines or affiliate marketing or whatever that may be. And then we could throw on a 4th step, which is email marketing to bring your customers back to buy other stuff, right?
So once you've set it up, you don't just sit there and you wait for money to come in. I'm sure you have to maintain it.
Sure, right? yeah, absolutely. And there is a maintenance component of it, right? But so much of it can be automated by technology now, right? You know, when I get an order, maybe 1 in 30 or 1 in 40 orders do I ever have to do anything with, because you know, the order comes in, the money's put in the bank account, the systems automatically ship the product. If it's a physical product, a fulfillment house gets an email, they package up and ship it out, right? So all of a sudden, you can scale very, very quickly.
That's obviously if you've got an effective system that works properly. And on that note, you know, these businesses aren't necessarily for everyone. I mean, internet businesses, who are they particularly suited for, do you think?
Well, you know, and if you look at the people I've coached, I've got everything from, you know, grandmothers to teenagers that have done this, right? So it's not necessarily the background or the skill set. I mean, first of all, you do need a computer, okay? We'll get that out of the way. And you need to be comfortable on the internet, right? And you need to be open to learning, right? Because it is, I'm never going to lie to somebody and say, oh yeah, click a button, boom, money comes out of your computer. There's a learning curve. It takes time. And if you're willing to commit to that learning curve, like anything worth doing in life, right, you can get there. So, you know, procrastinators, people who aren't willing to sit down in front of their computer, if you hate being in front of a computer, that's probably not for you. But, you know, other than that, really anybody can do it if they have the drive.
Yeah, so just commit 6 months, I suppose. A big S-curve, learning curve for you, but besides that, I suppose it will be pretty easy in that sense. Well, thank you, Derek, for coming in this morning. To find out more, you can always visit his website. It's www.derekgale.com. There we go. That's the website up for you. You'll find all the information there.
And coming up next on AM Live,